Hello and welcome. I'm Miss Barbara with the Greensboro Public Library, and I'm glad you can join us for today's program, Celebrate Greensboro, Celebrate the World, featuring Hanukkah. For the first part of our program, I'll read the book Nonna's Hanukkah Surprise by Karen Fisman, and then we'll make a great craft based on the story. Nonna's Hanukkah Surprise by Karen Fisman. Do we have to go? Asked Rachel, trying to keep her voice from wobbling. Mom looked surprised. You love visiting Daddy's family, she said. But we'll miss Hanukkah, said Rachel. Nonna and the cousins celebrate Christmas. Don't worry, honey, said Daddy. The rest of my family does celebrate Christmas, but we'll bring Hanukkah along too. You'll see. It will be fun for us to share our holiday celebrations. Look, said Mom. She opened a small suitcase. It was filled with Hanukkah decorations, dreidels, chocolate Hanukkah gelt, and enough candles for all 8 nights of Hanukkah. There was also a pile of gifts on the bed, both for Rachel and for her cousins. Rachel felt a bit better, but something was missing. There's no Hanukkah menorah, she pointed out. How will we light the Hanukkah candles? Here, Rach, Daddy said, handing her a box, an early Hanukkah present for you. Open it. Inside was the best menorah Rachel had ever seen. Each of its branches was shaped like a person, and not just any person. The menorah had 9 proud Maccabees, each holding a candle, including one for the Shamash. Rachel loved the story of the Maccabees, the brave Jewish fighters who defeated King Antiochus. She did think it was unfair, though, that the Maccabees were all boys. Rachel was sure that if she'd lived in the days of Antiochus, she would have been a Maccabee too. That was why this particular menorah was the very best. All 9 Maccabees were girls. Rachel gave Daddy a big hug. Okay, she said with a smile. We'll bring Hanukkah with us to Nonna and the cousins. A week later, Rachel's family took a taxi to the airport. Mom was in charge of the Hanukkah suitcase, but Rachel was in charge of the Maccabee menorah, which was safe in her very own backpack. On the plane, Rachel carefully tucked the menorah under the seat in front of her. Then she buckled her seat belt and waited for takeoff. The next thing Rachel knew, Daddy was shaking her shoulder. Wake up, Rach, we're landing. Everyone stood up and shuffled into the aisle. Mom was already opening the overhead bin to take out the Hanukkah suitcase. Sleepy Rachel lurched to her feet and followed her family to the exit. In the airport, Nonna and the cousins were waiting. There were lots of hugs and even more kisses. Nonna gave Rachel the biggest hug of all. Rachel took a deep breath, smelling Nonna's perfume. Nonna always wore lots so everyone could enjoy it. She even saved her perfume bottles because, she said, they were too beautiful to throw away. I'm so glad you're here, Bella, said Nonna in her heavy accent. Me too, Nonna, said Rachel, and she meant it. As soon as Rachel stepped inside Nonna's house, she caught the scent of evergreens and a whiff of Nonna's famous panettone. Nonna took Rachel straight to the kitchen and cut her a thick slice of the sweet, fruit-filled bread. "I'm making all my special foods for Christmas," Nonna said proudly. Then she winked. "And we're going to have Hanukkah too. Don't you worry. You brought everything we need, yes?" Rachel nodded. "Mom has decorations and lots of other stuff, and She stopped. She had been about to say, "I have the menorah," but she didn't have the menorah. It was still on the plane. How could she have forgotten it? A giant lump grew in Rachel's throat. "What's wrong, Bella?" asked Nonna. Rachel ran to her parents. "I left the Maccabee menorah on the plane," she cried. "Oh, sweetie," said Mom. "It's okay. We'll call the airport in the morning." "But tonight is the first night of Hanukkah," sobbed Rachel. "We have to light the candles." "We'll still light candles," said Daddy. "We just won't get to use your Maccabee menorah tonight. But we'll put up the decorations, play dreidel, and eat latkes like we always do. Don't worry, honey. It will be okay." Mom opened her suitcase. The cousins swarmed around, reaching for decorations and spinning the dreidels on the kitchen table. But not Rachel. Her beautiful menorah was stuck on the plane, and it was all her fault. Rachel rested her head on the kitchen table. She wished she could just go back home. Then she smelled perfume and heard a whisper in her ear. "Teach me about the menorah, Bella," said Nonna. "Then I'm going to make you feel better." In a quiet voice, without even lifting her head, Rachel explained about the menorah. She told Nonna how it had 8 candle holders for the 8 nights of Hanukkah and 1 extra for the Shamash, the worker candle that lights the rest, and how on the first night of Hanukkah, Jews light 1 candle plus the Shamash, with another candle added each night until on the last night all 8 are lit. "Okay," said Nonna. "Now I know. So now I'll fix it. But first I need my super duper glue." Nonna took the glue from a drawer. Then she slipped 2 Hanukkah candles out of Mom's suitcase and marched out of the room. A few minutes later, Nonna was back, holding a beautiful sparkling menorah. 9 glimmering crystal perfume bottles stood on a silver tray, all stuck in place with Nonna's super duper glue. The tallest bottle held the Shamash, and another held the first candle of Hanukkah. A smile spread over Rachel's face. It wasn't her girl Maccabee menorah, but it was a very special menorah all the same. Rachel ran over and gave Nonna an enormous hug. Thank you, Nonna," said Rachel, not letting go. When it got dark, everyone gathered around the glittering menorah. Mom sang the blessing, and Dad lit the first Hanukkah candle. Afterwards, as Rachel munched on Nonna's lasagna and Mom's potato latkes, she decided that bringing Hanukkah to Nonna and the cousins was pretty special. Maybe next time she'd bring Purim. So that was a fun book, and I really enjoyed the story of Nonna and how she helped Rachel have an extra special Hanukkah. I hope you did too. We're going to do a craft inspired by the book, and it's make your own menorah. The fun part of this craft is that there's no right or wrong way to do it. Of course, we kind of have an idea, thanks to Rachel in the book, of what the menorah should look like, but you can make it out of anything that you have. Just like Nonna made it out of her perfume bottles in a tray, you can get items that you've saved around your house, maybe things that are even special to you, like the figurines were to Rachel, and have fun making your own menorah. You can make a toy menorah, or you can make one that actually lights. It's entirely up to you. It's your art. Here are some things that I gathered that you might be interested in making a menorah out of. So as you're gathering your own items, the first thing to think of is how to make the shape of the menorah. You can choose containers that remind you of the candlestick shape. You can also use something like popsicle sticks that you can paint or use markers on or make your own art on to stand up and make the candles. You can make candle holder shapes and use actual candles. Although if you're going to burn them, remember that whatever you put them into needs to be fireproof, or there needs to at least be a tray or a layer of sand or putty or something to catch the wax. You can make clay candles out of straws or anything else colorful that you have around. For decorating, you can use any kind of fun art supplies. If you've chosen some fillable containers, there's almost endless possibilities of what you can put inside. You can choose something decorative, like the large glitter. You can put in a favorite toy or an object that is sentimental or important to you, the way that Nonna's perfume bottles were and the Maccabee figurines were to Rachel. You can put in fake snow or confetti to make it colorful. You can even paint the container, or much like Rachel's figurines, you can draw or paint a person or a shape or concept and add that to the outside of your container to decorate it. You can use something like origami paper or washi tape. Even fun little odd bits and bops that you can glue to it or put in the middle or attach. One of my favorite finds was out of another craft. They're just foil ties, but they're so shiny, and there's a lot of different ways to decorate with them. So now that we've talked about some of the things we can make our craft out of, let me show you what I did. I made a DIY menorah inspired by the one in the book made by Rachel and her Nonna. I've used some old film canisters for the candlesticks. They've been scribbled on by kids in the past, which made them unsuitable for some projects, but perfect for this one because we're just going to cover them. Then I chose some origami paper, and I made our candles out of some straws and pipe cleaner. Obviously this is a toy set, so we're not going to burn real candles, but I wanted to have something where I could store the candle for play, and so this worked out great. The top of the film canisters were just perfect. Then the next thing I did is, because I made this set with my great nephew Daniel in mind, I printed out some pictures of people and his pets that were important parts of his family. Partly because I was inspired by our our book, and also because during the holidays, family is really important. So let me show you with the last two how I made it. You're just going to take some origami paper and cut it down to size. I chose some fun and colorful patterns that reminded me of each person that was on the canister. Then you're going to take it down. So I colored it to look like it. I'm going to set it in spots on the menorah and put the candle. And then the last one is Daniel's bell. Again, you're just going to tape down the origami paper. Right to the side. And then he gets his spot in the menorah. So, the only other thing that I really did was to add a container with some fun confetti to the bottom of the candle that represents the shamash so that it's taller than